There's always like a 2-second delay. So it says we're live on here. Hold on, let me confirm. Hello, Facebook. If you are joining us live, thank you for doing so. If you're watching the replay, I always like to say you might want to fast forward 20 seconds or so before we actually get rolling here. I'm just going to confirm that we are, in fact, yes, we are. Bada bing. There we go. All right, perfect. Well, we are back for round, I can't remember what it was, 26 or 28. Who cares? We've done a bunch of these, and it's been showing up in my news feed, memories rather, from last year. So we've been going strong doing these broker showdowns. And today I'm joined by Aaron Peeler. He is the state of North Carolina market leader for HomeSmart. Okay, so he's going to give you a more official intro, but let's dial it back first, set the stage, and then I'll toss it over to Aaron to give a more formal intro. But if this is the first time hanging out and checking out the Broker Showdown, you're like, what the heck is this? Why should I tune in? Great question. Basically, what it is what it sounds like. It's a showdown. Now, we're not here to stump each other, but we are here to have a good, open, on the fly chat, because the rules of the game are I get 3 questions for Aaron. Aaron gets 3 questions for me. And basically, neither of us know what the heck the other person's going to ask. So it's fun, it's edgy, it's on the fly. And that way we get the most real, raw, vulnerable response without having to prepare notes or overthink it too much, right? And so that's what it is. And we're going to have fun together. So Aaron is somebody that we've been, I would say, running together in some way, shape, or form for, I don't know, man, a couple years or so now. Has it been longer than that?
Maybe as much as 5.
Maybe as much as 5. See, where the heck does time go? What am I saying? But just a quick personal aside on Aaron, having gotten to know him, and obviously part of the reason I want to ask him is because we love featuring leaders in the real estate industry who are leading by example, leading by abundance. They make things happen. They have a servant-driven heart. And I was like, Aaron had attended something recently. And I'm like, I need to have this dude on the Broker Showdown because he'd be a great guest, and he's got a strong track record of leadership. He is somebody, having gotten to know him, that does, in fact, lead by example. And I know that might be an obvious statement, but so many leaders, in my view, don't, unfortunately. And I think he deserves that credit. And I would label him as definitely being somebody who's learning-based. Having attended some of my stuff, I can say firsthand, he engages at a very high level. He shows up the way he expects those that he leads to show up. And most important of all, probably, from my view, he implements what he learns, what he takes, and tries to get that deep into the organization rather than just hoarding the information for himself. He's an implementer, and I very much dig that and I value that in you, man. So thanks for being here today. I'm going to toss it to you. Fill in any gaps about yourself, the brokerage, what you do. Over to you, man.
Yeah. So been licensed here in North Carolina since 2010. I've never done anything for 16 years before. So yeah, it's getting kind of crazy now. But yeah, I realized pretty quickly that I was good at working with the other people in real estate. Right. And so, it's probably only, it's 2014 when I got my first leadership position. I spent 10 years at that firm, recruited 600 plus agents while I was there.
Wow.
Of course, I've just gotten started. Yes, just gotten started with HomeSmart. Been a little over a month now. Loving it so far. It's a very similar model, compensation model. We are virtual here in North Carolina. It's something I'm very familiar with and comfortable with. So, loving it so far here.
I love that, man. So market leader, to fill in that a little bit. What are a couple of your primary roles, responsibilities? What are you focused on?
Yeah, so a lot of folks, probably a lot of companies would the market leader would be like the principal broker.
Yep.
Now here, market leader may be more than one state. For example, you get into really messy spots like DC, Maryland, Virginia, and yeah, the market leader is going to be the principal broker in more than one place. North Carolina is a big state. So for me, it's primarily going to be North Carolina. What a lot of people would think of the principal broker, qualifying broker, of course, is the legal term here. So we're starting up from almost brand new, got a handful of agents here and looking to repeat what I've done in the past and grow a productive office.
Love it.
I'd really love to see those average transactions be above the industry average.
There we go. Ooh, that's going to be a good setup for one of my questions for you, because part of this is, yes, if anybody's watching this, I'll say it. Aaron doesn't have to. That, if you connect or resonate with what he's saying today, and you're obviously open to exploring options, what the heck, man? Shoot him a DM, connect. That's what this is all about. And just because you have a conversation with somebody doesn't mean that you're committing to leaving wherever you are and all that funky stuff, right? He's a good dude, high-minded person. If it's not a fit, it's not a fit. But if it is, hey, maybe it's worth exploring, right?
Mhm.
So, all right. Well, how this is going to go? Well, I guess I'll do an intro first of myself, just in case if this is, again, like our first time hanging out. My name is Jake. Hello. Founder, CEO of The Locker Room. It's a real estate coaching and training company. We specialize in coaching and consulting with broker owners, leaders, namely, on 4 main pillars, being growth, recruiting, if you will, retention, productivity, and profitability, and making sure we can scale and boost those things in those specific categories. I've got a team of coaches that are very passionate about working with the Aaron Peelers of the world, plus myself, of course. And I'm also an author, written 3 books. I'm launching another business in T-minus less than 2 weeks called the Coaches Brokerage. So I just have this passion for coaching and leading other coaches in our space. And that'll be more of a community-driven value to coaches in the real estate world. So lots going on here. I won't bore you with it. Former athlete, college and professional baseball player, hence The Locker Room. That's probably all you need to know about me for now. So Aaron, I'm ready to roll. Are you ready?
Sure, let's go for it.
Let's do it. All right. So again, how this is going to work is we're going to go back and forth. I'm going to ask Aaron a question first. Probably, almost assuredly, I will ask a follow-up question or 2. And then when he's finished, Aaron will ask me the first question, and so on and so forth. So my first question to you, sir, is, and this is kind of the catalyst, your last comment there. Let's pretend for a hot minute that I'm an agent in the state of North Carolina, or maybe even in your backyard there, Raleigh Triangle area. Okay. And I'm considering making a move. I would love for you to give me a condensed or whatever version of your unique value proposition as to why an agent like me should maybe consider joining a brokerage like yours, and doing so obviously without disparaging anybody else. That's
Sure.
right.
Yeah. Number one, when I interview agents, I never even talk about their firm they're at unless they ask me questions. Because I don't believe in saying anything negative about other folks.
Nope.
I talk about us because I know what I offer. So we are. We're what's known as the 100% commission model.
Okay.
Flat fee. A lot of folks don't think you can get the same level of support and service from those companies. And that reputation has been earned in some places. They're I almost say relatively new by comparison to, say, the West Coast. They've had that sort of model out there a lot longer. It is still at this point newer to the East Coast, but most people are familiar with it now. But they're pejoratively talked about as license warehouses sometimes, where you're just hanging your license. There's no help, but you get what you pay for. And we think that we've advanced beyond that you can get legitimate support here. And in North Carolina in particular, agents are familiar with the term broker in charge.
Right.
And I used to work at one of the big blue bloods when I first got into real estate, and people would, even within the same company, they would tell you, go interview more than one broker in charge.
Sure.
Even if you like the company, make sure you like the office you're in, because the broker in charge sets so much of the tone and culture that you're going to experience there. So, I try not to sound arrogant when I say it, but a big piece of what you're getting is me. That I'm here. I'm a full-time broker in charge who does not sell homes. I last sold a home like 5 years ago, and it was to one of the employees of the company I was at. So, having a broker who does nothing but this who's there to answer the phone. And they all have my cell phone number. They can text me, call me, email. A lot of times they'll ask, like, which do you prefer? I'm like, well, they all come to my phone. It really doesn't make that much difference. So it's the 100% model, I think, sometimes is viewed as a less than model, that you're going to pay less, but you'll get less. And I think, the last firm I was at, I feel like we did a good job of proving that didn't have to be true. And since getting to HomeSmart, I've seen that it can be even better than what I thought it was before.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've been saying this a lot lately, that two things can be true at the same time, right? And if we're not telling our story, which is why I wanted you here, then that means other people will tell our story for us. And I think that's where you're coming from, is like it's just become this thing, and you're here to say, actually, not so fast. You can have both, right? And so I want to go back a couple things. Number one, what I heard you say towards the end there is very individualized approach, very approachable and accessible to the agents you're here to serve. And I just want to comment, because I think this is so important. Not enough brokers or leaders, let's just say leaders in general, maybe say or give themselves enough credit or permission to say what you just said. And I'd like to change that. So I'm going to draw attention to it. You said, although the company is wonderful and all these extra support systems and things in place, you, Aaron, are part of that uniqueness, that unique value proposition. Toot, pat yourself on the back. I fully endorse that. And I agree. I think not enough leaders include that when communicating the value proposition to agents, and they make it so much about the stuff or the comp plans. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, again, not going to share any names. I've seen behind the curtain at a couple places along the way. And I feel like there are some companies that want the company to be the focus.
Yeah.
They don't view the broker as something unique and special to the process. And that's something I can't tell you how many agents I've spoken to, of those 600 plus agents that I've recruited. I probably interviewed a couple hundred others. So I've maybe interviewed as many as 1,000 agents over the last decade plus. And the number of agents who would just flat out tell me, I don't even know who my broker is. Or even if they did know who it was, they'd never had a one-on-one conversation with them.
Right.
And, we're in a state, North Carolina is a state where we're responsible for what those people do. And I'm like, I don't ever want you to think that you can't reach out to me, because if you screw up big time, I'm on the line too. So I want you to ask me. I want you to ask me a question you think is dumb, just to double check. So yeah, it does. It makes a big difference.
That's good. I've got one more, maybe two, sneak it in there, follow-ups, and then I'll be quiet and toss it over to you. But I do want to go back to the 100% model concept, and I've known you prior to HomeSmart, and you've already mentioned that. So what attracts you, if anything, what attracts you to that model, and who would you consider to be the ideal agent for it?
Yes, it is. Now, it can be a good fit for new agents. It's not always. I'll tell you, you talked about agents not always being the right fit. Sometimes during the interview, I let them know that it's not the right fit, and that what you're asking for is not what we are. Here, my last firm, anywhere I've worked, if they weren't the right fit, I don't try to recruit them anyway, because then you end up with unhappy agents. And unhappy agents are the worst ones to manage. So yeah, if they're not a good fit, tell them. I actually talked to an agent recently and suggested you should go to a big team, or you should go to a place, I'll mention one name, Keller Williams. They were a newer agent. They really wanted the coaching and the hand holding and the mentoring. And I just told them, I was like, right now, newer in North Carolina, we're not quite there, but we will be. Here's some places you should consider that are going to make you a more successful agent. And even at my previous firm over that 10-year period, there were agents that I would send elsewhere. And then when they got what they needed as a new agent, they'd call me back and say, you know what? Now I'm ready to keep my money. Um, Something I tell experienced agents is if you've been paying that traditional split, whatever it is, X percentage, let's do the math and take half of what you save and make your business better. Take the other half and make your life better. And you're going to enjoy what you do so much more.
I love that, man. Like the abundance is the word I think I would summarize that, knowing if I met with you, full circle to my question, I guess, and knowing that up front, you might be the one to tell me we're not a fit, or vice versa. And that's okay. We're not better than, we're not worse than. It's just about alignment. I think that abundance mentality and approach, they can probably feel it rather than just let me give you the talking point infomercial. Let me sell you on why we're so great. It's really more of a consultative approach, it sounds like,
Yes.
versus just a pitch.
Right. Oh, that's exactly it. I want to help them make the right decision, which is, of course, what we want to teach them to do for their clients.
That's it.
So if we're, talking about leading by example, if we help them make good decisions for themselves, that's demonstrating how they should interact with their own clients.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Agreed. Well, good job, man. Great answer. I mean, who am I to judge an answer? But I appreciate the perspective and answer that you just gave. So over to you. I'll let you ask me the first one now.
Sure. So in fact, you've used a couple of your keywords already. The value proposition and the ideal agent. I've heard that in most of every training or meeting or whatever that I've attended, you've done.
Yeah.
So I would ask you, what's that maybe like second level item that a lot of broker owners overlook? Like you've got your ideal agent, you've got your value proposition. And if you've got those two things, you've at least got the start of a plan. But what's like that level 2 thing that a lot of broker owners are overlooking?
That's a really great question. Nobody's asked me that. And so I have an answer actually pretty quickly in my mind. And this is the fun, right? We just answer on the fly, and maybe it's not the answer, but this is the first thing that hit me. All right, man. So I was taught long ago as a recruiter. I was a team leader at a Keller Williams franchise. Okay. And this is where I learned this, that any pillar of value that I make a stake a claim to, it's one thing to tell, and we know that facts tell, but what? It's actually stories that sell. So facts tell, stories sell. Here's the missing link, brokers, team leads, listen up. That yes, if I know my value proposition, I know the ideal agent avatar that we're seeking to attract that is appealing to said value proposition. Hey, there's some significant puzzle pieces come together. Now I need case studies. I need to show evidence of success. I think where a lot of brokerages go wrong is they get into fact-telling mode. Here's our comp, here's our tech stack, here's why we're so great. Let me just tell you about our culture. And they miss out on the connective tissue of providing a case study, a story, an example of one of our very own agents who, hey, Aaron, you remind me a lot of like our agent Janet. Janet was going through the same thing. She ended up using XYZ resource of ours, and now look at Janet. You see what I'm doing there? So it's one thing to tell and show and tell, but it's another thing to provide evidence through the form of a case study that lands different. It cements it differently, at least in my experience. And that leads me to kind of compounding the answer here of so many, when they're clear on the who and the value, it's like this marketing around feature benefit. I still believe what's most enticing and really draws the compelling ideal person to you is communicating through problem solution, because they're all asking themselves, what's in it for me? If I move my license or I hang my license there and I go through all of that, how do I know my life, my business, whatever is going to be better, whatever better means, more money, more efficient, less time, you name it. And we've got to really communicate that through problem, solution, and leveraging case studies of our very own agents. I know I'm blabbing here. Last thing, I encourage this internally at my own business, right? I want to be the single greatest collection of leader, broker owner, team lead transformation stories. We are a transformation company, cleverly disguised as a coaching and training company. But I figure if I can collect all these little transformation stories, you guys scroll through your news feeds and you see this person who lost all this weight and they show the before and after photo from 90 days ago. Here's where I was. Here's what I look like now. That's what I connect in my mind. I want those transformation stories. Here was Aaron Peeler 120 days ago, but here's where Aaron Peeler is now. And you collect those into your story database. Ooh, marketing and agent attraction and culture and everything rises because of it. And I think so many miss out on that.
Yeah, no, I love these specific examples. Even, you know, going back to that idea of in some companies, the agents don't even know who their broker is.
Sure.
And let's be real, in a lot of them, the broker has no idea who the agents are.
Yes,
I'll go through some of these interviews and I don't just say, we do this. I'll say, you know, when Carol joined me 5 years ago, she had this issue. When I worked with Amy as a brand new agent, we did this.
Yes.
And now I will say those names are real. I didn't just make them up. They could be made up if you're not good at memorizing that stuff. But when you put a name to it, you emphasize that I'm going to remember this interview 3 years from now. I'm going to remember the things you told me, and that you're a person in my office that I'm here to support. You're not just, you know, a number who's never going to hear from you again.
It's so true. And I'll be quiet after this, but it's like, yes, if I say, here's my 10 points of that make up our value proposition, what Aaron and I are literally saying is having a story or two connected to each one of those 10 points. So I can bust it out at any time. Not to mention, if you really want to +1 that, leaders, if you're watching this, put yourself in the shoes, a day in the life of your ideal agent. What is stressing them out? What is frustrating them? What's keeping them awake at night? What problems, challenges are they encountering every day? Ooh, this is where people get good. And then you have a story for each one of those. We wouldn't teach probably an agent to go into a listing appointment completely blindfolded. No, most agents go into a listing appointment knowing the top 5 common objections they're going to hear, and they're prepared to handle it as such. Why should we be any different? Except now we're communicating through challenge solution. Hey, agents, if you're out there right now and your challenge is living, you know, riding that real estate roller coaster ride and blah, 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 whatever, you should have a story that can say you might be like Sally Sue. Sally Sue was going through the same thing. We got in business together. We helped Sally Sue do XYZ, and now she consistently closes 8 per month. Like, whatever. I'm making this up, obviously. But that is where people get really good of not just tying it to their value proposition points, but also the problems or challenges that their ideal who is experiencing, and having a story of evidence for that too.
Yeah.
So,
oh, yeah, exactly.
Great question, man. You get me rolling on that stuff. Watch out. All right. I'm ready for number 2. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. So my second question for you is kind of busting out the crystal ball that none of us have, but I'm going to ask you to do it anyways. Looking into the future, because I think great leaders are also visionaries a lot of times. So let's just go, if we could, 3 years out. So the year is 2029. It's June 2029. Holy smokes. That's weird to say.
It is.
If you were coaching, training, leading a group of agents right now, maybe they're watching this, what advice would you give to real estate agents right now, today, so they would remain relevant and at the center of the relationship or center of the transaction well into the future? Context being, we've got software, AI, all these things that the sky's falling and it's trying to replace us. So what advice do you give that person today? So even 3 years from now, they're irreplaceable.
Yes, that one, of course, big question right now. They're all talking about it. Is AI going to replace us? Is Amazon going to send a drone to open the door?
Right.
And I can tell you, I mean, as far as expertise in North Carolina real estate goes,
Yeah.
I mean, there's attorneys who know general statutes better than me. There's commission staff who knows, their code better than me. There's the attorneys over at NC Realtor Legal Hotline that know code of ethics and MLS rules better than me. But when you put it all together, there's very few people that know that total package here in North Carolina better. I tried to program a custom agent in ChatGPT to answer basic questions about paperwork for agents. And I could not get it to stop going out and finding information I didn't give it. So now agents will have to get more efficient. They will have to learn to use software and AI, and they'll have to learn to offload some of the things it can do well. But when it comes to advising people on that, we always talk about, it's almost cliche, that biggest purchase of their life.
Yeah.
When it comes to giving them that meaningful advice on what should impact your decision to buy that house in this neighborhood, AI is not going to be able to replace that anytime soon, not in 3 years. Now, 20 years out, who knows? But agents are going to have to get more efficient so that they can spend more time being the human connection to their clients and less time doing some of this busy work that they think is work, but it's not how they make their income.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so efficient, you said a lot there. I just want to pull it out for the audience, I guess. I heard more or less efficiency. Yes, it's a great tool, right? And it's going to involve, none of us have a crystal ball, but you leverage the tool for what it can do, especially the administrative, busy work. So I can be more human and present with the relationship. I heard you say that. And then just that advisory role. I mean, I could get advice from an Elon Musk robot, I guess, but there's just something about human emotional intelligence, especially if it's the largest investment of my life, that I hope we do our job well as real estate pros. This shouldn't be a concern, but we got to be prepared for it,
Yeah, you don't want to be that Waymo that gets stuck in the floodwater.
Yeah,
because they can't recognize the difference between solid surface and water surface. And that's where you run into the AI hallucinations and things. Yeah, people are going to start asking questions on AI, but they don't want to get stuck in a Waymo in the middle of a flood. So they still, at some point, are going to want to talk to you, who knows their neighborhood.
Would you? Yes. The other point that I heard, I just don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe you can opine on this if you have any opinions on it. I think in your response, I basically heard translated, agents need to get really good. In other words, increase their skill of knowing and communicating their value, because that is changing. Anybody can just look up the information. So am I right in saying that? Is that your view, that yes, they have to get crisper on demonstrating and articulating their value? But I'll let you answer that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's when they have that buyer consultation with a potential client. The client needs to leave with their stack of paperwork that they printed out from Zillow and AI and wherever, and they should be flipping through it saying, none of this told us that.
Right.
They gave us something that we can't get somewhere else.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's really important for agents to hear, because gone are the days. And if you haven't figured this out by now, like, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm going to say it anyway. Gone are the days of just being a chauffeur, an Uber driver. We're driving people around, if you can still do that, and unlocking doors for people. Like, you better increase your skill, your market knowledge, and let alone the continuing nurture of the relationship, especially between the 7 to 10 years when they probably don't have a real estate need. How do you remain relevant? This is that follow-up conversation and an integral part of their lives versus just being there when they might have a real estate need.
Right. Yeah,
So,
exactly. That's actually Stacy, who's our president here at HomeSmart, she was talking to me about this recently. You need to be the person who knows people.
yeah,
When your buyer 3 years down the line, their water heater goes out, you
yes,
need to be the person that they think of. Like, I don't know who to call. I could look at Angie's List, or I mean, I guess Craigslist is still around, whatever, but I'm going to ask someone for a personal recommendation, because
yeah,
that's how they find most agents. They want a personal recommendation, and they like that with most of their vendors. Even me, I just had to replace my HVAC last week. It's a very, very sad day, but I didn't go Google. I live in a condo building.
yeah,
I asked the community manager, who knows this building,
yeah.
and she sent me a company that already has access to the roof, so I didn't have to do anything. So yeah, being that person who knows the person they need next is a great way for them to still keep you in mind in between transactions.
Yeah. When they think of anything home ownership related, they think of you.
Mhm.
You own that mind share. And by the way, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I don't see it changing anytime soon, but yeah, you think about that. I can't even buy a friggin' toothbrush without first I got to read all the reviews. What are people saying, or book a vacation. Like we were so heavy on peer-to-peer reviews to make decisions, which only emphasizes your point. Yeah. Be the connector.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, a lot of those online peer-to-peer reviews are fake peers now.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Don't even.
AI out there, like AI is being used for a lot of good. It's also being used for a lot of stuff that's totally fake. So
So
yeah,
true. Yeah. Yeah. Yelp. Well, I'm sure it's active on Reddit and some of these other platforms. It's probably just a bot or fake something or another, an AI agent's writing. So yeah, be careful. But human to human. Yep. I think we're still pack animals and desire connectedness at the end of the day.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. All right, man. Good stuff. Great answer. Thank you. Back over to you. Question 2. What you got?
Yeah, what big buzz, talking about the macro environment here,
Okay.
in real estate. You've seen the mergers, the acquisitions. Um, Real estate's kind of a unique business. It's one of the smaller number of businesses still today where the barrier to entry is low to start your own company. So I would ask you, especially given the people that you typically work with in coaching, as we see these mega companies being developed, where do you see the boutique firm fitting into the new real estate economy?
Oh man, you're gonna put me on record on this one. No, that's a great question actually, and I first listen, everybody. I could be dead wrong. I don't pretend to have all the answers, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I will be the first one to own it. It's just an opinion here. That said, um, you're not going to see me anytime soon. No offense to some of the other gurus or coaches out there. I don't generally weigh in on that stuff, Aaron, just because at the end of the day, I'm brand agnostic. Like, I don't care.
Mhm.
I just don't care.
Right. Yeah.
But I know a lot of other people who have the background and they're like, look at this article, and, on the Instagram videos. I don't need that. I don't desire to do that. And it's, at the end of the day, it's just for clicks and all that stuff, anyways.
Mhm.
So, to actually give you an answer, there could be some biases here. I actually think, and this is very counter what some of the most well-respected friends and people of mine say. So I'm taking a contrarian stance, I think. I actually see the rise of indies. I really do. No offense to franchises and some of these big conglomerates that just attract people. I get it, and I think there's definitely clearly value in this time. I think I still have faith in the entrepreneur's heart. I have faith in people reconnecting oftentimes with the reason they got involved in this business in the first place, which is freedom, flexibility, financial gain. And I'm not suggesting they can't have all of that even when affiliating with bigger boxes or companies like Place and so on and so forth. The people I talk to that have the shop on Main Street, I tend to work with smaller, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, more local boutique indie brokers. Yeah, it's hard, but show me anything that's not hard. Anything worth doing is going to have its own challenges. And I just see a rise, in fact, of more people spinning out of some of the bigger brands, perhaps, and saying, kind of like you started today, Aaron, I don't need anymore to feel like I've got to compete with the Joneses. I don't need 100 plus or 1,000 plus person agent count. In fact, what I desire is just to have 5, 8, 12, whatever the number is, great agents. And we just do great business and we take great care of our clients local, because real estate is local. And so if anything, I don't know, this would be a great comment below. If you're watching this, if you've got an opinion, leave it in the comments. Do you see the trend being the big boxes and franchises are just going to get bigger? Teams and other conglomerates are just going to continue to swallow people up? Or do you believe what I believe, that actually the opposite might be true, where more people will begin to spin off and become just a local, smaller teamridge or brokerage on a boutique level? That's what I see, and I could be completely wrong. I've got to ask you back. What's your view on
it? Yeah, no. Funny enough, I tend to agree. I think that as consolidation happens, the offerings from the national mega companies are it's going to become much more homogenous. Right. What's the difference between this one and that one, other than the name of their AI bot?
There you go.
And yeah, I think now, I do personally think like that middle tier is going to see a lot of pressure. That person that broker owner who's plateaued at 150 agents, because you've got enough that you feel the pressure to provide these big company tools, but the cost of developing them yourself is kind of out of reach. But yeah, I think the boutique will see a comeback. That neighborhood brokerage where the folks down the street know they can actually pop into your office and there's a human being there sitting waiting to say hello to them.
I like the segmentation. So yes, I guess I took it to more of the boutique-y, smaller, whatever that means. Who's to say what's small or not, but you know what I'm saying. And I agree. Yeah, I think that middle tier, however defined by agent count or otherwise production levels, I agree with that. And I'm actually seeing that. I think they're the most vulnerable, just like the most vulnerable agent. When I was recruiting agents, I would generally target like that $3 to $8 million producer, the mighty middle agent.
Yes.
They were just easy. I mean, they do enough business that they're experiencing pain. They just don't know how to get out of that pain or what have you. And I think a lot of those brokerages with that agent count you referenced, you're right. They're big enough. They got the expenses, they got the overhead, and they can feel stuck at times. Oftentimes seeing the easiest out without forfeiting everything being a merger, acquisition, or some sort of affiliation. Yeah. But I see, last thing. So he'll know who he is, but I won't say names. I coached a broker who's got 30 agents, and he is still in production himself. Aaron, I'm telling you what, man, I will put that dude's P&L up against any, I won't name names, and let's just say any other bigger, more pronounced brokerage any day. Dude is killing it. His net profit, through the roof. Why? Because not just is he in production, that's by choice, but he's got 30 committed, bad to the bone, producing agents, and he is running laps around brokerages that I know for a fact have 400 plus agents. I'll put his profitability and life against theirs any day.
Right. Yeah.
Which just proves the point. So, that's a big topic. All right, man, you ready for the last one?
So let's go for it.
Let's do it. Okay. So my last question, I asked you to look in the future. This final question, I'm going to ask you to actually look in the rear view mirror and maybe even get a little vulnerable with us. So here we go. One of my favorite questions to ask leaders like you is, looking back, knowing what you know now, what mistakes, pitfalls, maybe challenges have you had to overcome during your journey? Like, is there an example, a defining moment example you could give us? And two parts, what lesson did you learn from that experience, or how has it helped shape the leader that you are today?
Yeah. So, I would look all the way back to the start of my career. And a lot of people would probably be shocked to know, considering, how many agents I've recruited. They'd be like, well, you must be great at sales. Um, I was not a very good agent when I started. I mean, I knew real estate. I was not a good prospector. I've spent a lot of time learning to fake being an extrovert
Mm,
because I'm very much naturally an introvert. I'm going to a networking event tonight, and when I get home from that, I'm going to not talk to anyone for as long as possible. Uh, I mean, maybe well into the day tomorrow.
I
Yeah,
totally know what that feels like. Yes.
yeah. So I'll be honest. I think I kind of going back to that conversation I had with that other new agent. I
Yeah.
said, I don't know what the fire in your belly looks like to go out and talk to strangers. Looking back at my own career, I kind of didn't have it.
Right.
And if I was to start over from day one today, I would probably join a big team, like a
Mhm.
mega team, the kind where if you're not successful, they fire you because they're making you do it.
Right.
Um, now, I found my niche in real estate, and I found the one I'm good at. But sometimes I look back and I think, what if I had done that? What if I'd started with a big team here? And there's plenty of them to choose from.
Sure.
Many brokerages, they'll give you the leads. They'll tell you exactly what to do. They'll tell you if you don't do this, you're gone. And I've been successful at what I do, but I do sometimes look back and think, what if I had someone really kicking my ass when I was a new agent
Yeah.
in that manner? What would I be doing today that might be maybe I'd still be in sales instead of having gotten into the leadership and recruiting side of things. But
Right.
yeah, so I do sometimes look back at that and wonder, what if I'd taken a different path?
Really, that's it. It's interesting. So, given the path that it did lead you down, the one that you chose to take in leadership rather than agent production, I'm curious, was there a time you can think back to when it just clicked? It's like, hey, I'm going to let go of what I claim I wasn't, but here actually is. I found my rhythm. I found my thing here of recruiting, leadership. Is there
I,
anything there
you
you
know,
can draw from?
I had a property management company before I joined my last firm as a leader, they called them district directors there.
Okay.
And there was a Sunday night when I got a call from a tenant, and she was like, "Oh Lord, my ceiling's falling in," um, and
Oh, you shouldn't be calling me. No.
oh my God, okay. I go over there, and their HVAC unit was in their attic. And most people watching this now or later, they know HVACs produce some water, but it's not like a water heater busted.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I'm looking up at the ceiling. It's like, I know there was a stain up there that was growing for the last 2 months. Why would you wait till Sunday night to call me? And I was like, oh my God, I I got to get better at the leadership side so I can get rid of this.
Oh,
And
interesting.
then I did. Yeah, I actually I sold my property management company. It wasn't huge, but I got a piece of the profits for the next year. I called that a big win,
Yeah.
and realized going forward, I was like, oh my God, I like working with the agents, um, supporting them, answering their. Actually, what I love is because I am competitive. Uh, when we get into that situation where it feels like one side or the other is going to win,
Yeah.
I will. The agent. Sometimes I'm more into it than the agent is, and I'm like, no, no, no. I'm going to find something. I'm going to find something. I'm going to find that one word in the contract.
Yeah.
that's going to mean that they're wrong and we're right and we win. And funny enough, that's kind of the part of the business that really makes me feel like I've done something. Is when I can say that our client saved money or got a repair done or got their due diligence fee back because we know our stuff better than the other side does.
That's what you want in a, well, we'll say market leader, but broker in charge is somebody who cares about it just as much as you, if not at times more, and they got your back. That's a great quality. So so I see where that connects to the discovery of you saying, actually, I'm perfectly made for this role, moving forward in leadership and so on. That's really cool, man. I find people's stories like this fascinating, just because we've all got a background. We've all got a story, man. And a lot of times we discredit it unless we ask questions like this that you can relive some of that and pull it back to surface, man. So that's good. All right. I think you've got one more for me.
Yeah. So
and then we'll do a rapid round for you to close it out, by the way.
Yeah. Maybe a little lighter here. I've talked to brokers all over the country, of course, and last company and my one here. And one of the things that always drives me crazy is anytime, you probably hear it a lot when you're coaching people, you tell them, this is what you need to do. And the number one excuse is always, no, my market's different.
Yeah.
Market doesn't work that way. I can't do that here. So we all know that one. But what's like the silliest, most ridiculous excuse you've gotten for why someone's not growing or why they can't implement your coaching?
Oh man. I've never been asked this. I'm sure there's a ton of like ridiculous things back. Let me think. Sorry. Catching you flat-footed here.
I'll gap here real quick while you think. Yeah. I'll tell you the most ridiculous real estate commission complaint we ever got from one of my agents. I had an agent who got a complaint from the real estate commission because her buyer closed on the home and then the battery in the smoke detector ran out and it started beeping, and she wanted our agent to come back out and replace the battery. And of course she was like, no, it's your house now. And so she actually filed a commission complaint.
Wow.
Not coming back to replace the battery in the smoke detector. That's Jana, if you're watching, that's you.
That is actually quite ridiculous. That's not that one. You can't use that one again, but I do have one more question, the rapid fire round, that I'm going to ask that you could have used that for.
Oh man.
Dude, I have a generic, I can't think right now, and I owe you a better response, but I am going to maybe piss somebody off here. So whatever. Here's my generic response that's geared towards the leaders out there. Think how I want to say it. Okay, I'm just going to say it. Who cares? Part of your question was maybe not the most ridiculous, but hey, it's like you coach somebody, you help them self-discover, or borderline just tell them, no, trust me, go do this. And it's met with resistance and so on. That was kind of the basis of your question.
Yeah.
So many leaders right now, and I get it, I just like to poke holes and maybe play semantics with things because part of leadership, in my view, is teaching people how to think to get what they want when they want it. Not teaching people what to think. I'm not in the business of that, but how to think. And sometimes I intentionally ruffle feathers because I don't need to be right. I'll walk away from that thing. I don't care. But I know it stirred the hornet's nest up here. So that's what I'm about to do. Okay. Leaders, if you're telling yourself right now, well, I don't recruit. No, I don't recruit. I attract. I've got a lot of leaders, Aaron, that resist this recruiting thing. And then they're pissed off because their agents won't go lead generate. Well, it's the same thing. It's just different. You can't be mad at your agents not lead generating if you're not doing the equivalent of lead generating recruiting. So there's just this negativity, and I get why. It's noisy out there. It's a bloodbath sometimes, and there's a lot of back and forth and who's better than who. But we've got to go back to the programming, the conditioning that people have around the word that triggers them, called recruiting. I see it as an invitation. It's an opportunity meeting. We're going to explore how we can work together, how I can serve you. Like, there's nothing slimy and weird and ugly about that. But you're right. I probably would avoid it like the plague too if recruiting was just this constant cold call and just harassing people all day, every day. And so a lot of people avoid that conversation with me and they convince themselves, I don't recruit, I attract. Well, what the hell's the difference? Because at some point, recruiting is a system, it is a process of introducing an opportunity to another person that you may or may not want to be in business with, and then systematically getting them to the point of saying, I'm in, I'd like to join you now. It's a recruiting process. So I just find it exhausting I see it as the same, but I get in these arguments of like, no, we're saying the same thing. You just don't like the word recruiting and you'd rather call it attracting. Okay. But we've got to get over that. And last thing I'll say is because I really believe this, it's not just a line that if I'm not extending opportunity to people and I'm playing their cards for them just because I'm judging from the outside of, they're happy where they're at. There's no way they'd ever move. I don't know if maybe last night they were kneeled down by their bedside praying that an opportunity, somebody like you, like me, would enter into their world and maybe offer them an alternative. And if I don't I seriously see it as a duty and obligation, not emotionally tied to the outcome, but it is my responsibility to open up the door of possibilities. And if they want to explore it, we explore it. If not, that's cool. I can still be your bud, and I know you can probably relate to this because you've recruited hundreds of people. So what's your take on it while we're talking about it?
Well, yeah. I mean, recruiting's become a dirty word, but
Yeah,
it's if you believe that what you offer is truly what's best for that person,
right.
then why would you not want to make sure that they know about it? And yeah, I get some snarky responses back sometimes. People who say, oh, you shouldn't even bother with my company. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you feel that way. Everyone should feel that great about their own company.
Right.
But not everyone does. So I'm going to find the people who do.
Yep. And so it's a big, long-winded thing, but I guess that's where I'll leave my answer is something that they resist that in my mind is ridiculous. It's
Mhm.
like, we got to work through this, man, because healthy things grow. And I see it as a duty and obligation. And something you said earlier, it's a form of role modeling. That if I'm not doing the thing that I'm expecting the equivalent of my agents to do, nobody wants a boss anymore. They're looking for leaders.
Yeah.
So, all right, I've got 4 quick rapid fire round questions, and then we'll close it out. Sound good?
Sure.
Okay. We want to know, what's your favorite movie?
Ooh, I might. You know what? The Labyrinth, David Bowie.
Oh, I'm not sure
Yeah,
I've seen that. I've heard about it. I don't know if I watched that.
it's that's one of those that sometimes late at night, if I've had an adult beverage or two, I will turn that one on and have my own little dance party.
Okay. Well, I'll have to put it on my list. The Labyrinth, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about this one? What is there a unique talent that you have, or if not, maybe just like a random fun fact that not too many people know about you?
Well, funny thing connecting to your baseball career. I've got a byline on a book in the National Baseball Hall of Fame Library.
You say that again? You have a what?
Yeah, I've a byline. I helped write 2 chapters in a book that's in the Baseball Hall of Fame Library.
Seriously?
Yeah, outlaw ball players during World War II. A lot of the players got drafted. The major
Yeah.
leagues shut down, and these freedom leagues, independent leagues, whatever, were operating. And Western North Carolina had a very successful one. They had a lot of former major league players in it. Carolina Victory League, I believe, is the name.
Wow.
Outlaw Ball Players is the name of the book, and there is a copy. If you go up there to the Baseball Hall of Fame
Yeah.
library, they put on their little white gloves and they bring you out the copy, and you can check it out.
And you're in it. That's pretty cool, man. Oh, that definitely connects. See, this is why we do this. I'm totally nerding out. You get to know the real person. Okay, two more quick ones. Do you have a favorite vacation and why?
Oh my God, Guadeloupe, French Caribbean island. Well, usually you say Guadeloupe and they assume it's Guadalupe in Mexico, but
That's what I was thinking, but
yeah, French Caribbean island. It's a tropical island. They imported mongooses and they ate all the snakes on the island. So it's a tropical island. You can go hiking anywhere and there's no snakes.
Guadeloupe, not
Yes.
to be confused with Guadalupe.
Yes. Yep. A French island in the Caribbean.
Huh.
That they're part of France. They vote in their elections. They use the euro. All that good stuff.
Do you have to take like a ferry or a boat to get there? Or...
No, they're one of the bigger ones. So you can
Oh,
fly in. They've got a little island, a second island off the coast, where Marie Gallant, where they make rum, and you take a ferry over there. We did a tour of the rum factory. It was a really absolutely favorite place ever to go.
apparently I'm living under a rock, man. That's three for three of things that I have to either research or go watch or look up. These are you're doing good. Okay, last one then, and you can't reuse your other story. Is there a real estate blooper or like the strangest thing that maybe has ever happened to you that you can think of?
Oh, see, yeah, that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
I talked a little too much too early.
Like,
Man,
I mean, some people walk in on things and, all sorts of crazy stories, haunted houses.
that's exactly it. I was doing a listing presentation one time back when I was still in productivity myself, and I was using kind of a new strategy. It's like so many people. This was you're talking probably 2012ish, where we were starting to climb out of that last big housing recession, but sellers still thought that their house was a secret pot of gold. And so one of the things I was doing is when I would go, if it was a house in a subdivision, I would schedule a preview at a nearby house and show them, here's your competition.
Right.
So I did a listing presentation. I took the guy, a couple houses down the block to check out an active listing, see what was going on there. Knock on the door, use the lockbox. We get inside, like, hello, here for a showing. Just, I think maybe there's a car in the driveway or something. No one answers. We finally get around to one of the bedrooms, open the door, and there's a guy in his underwear on his laptop in the bed. It's like,
oh Lord,
you didn't hear us like definitely yelling when we came in the door?
Awkward.
Yeah. That one's been a long time. Hadn't thought about that.
Anybody watching this, maybe you're in real estate, you can understand. If not, real estate agents have the best stories. The most random or most disgusting or whatever things happen, and it's quite entertaining, actually. So I always love asking people that. Aaron, man, this has been absolutely awesome and fun and enlightening. So first, thank you again for the time. I've exhausted the full hour with you. I said it'd probably be about 40 minutes, and here we are. So last thing, though, if anybody would want to connect with you, maybe there's a website, an email, phone number, whatever you're comfortable sharing, how could an agent or fellow leader reach out to you and chat?
Yeah, you know what? Look me up on Facebook, Aaron Peeler. There's not that many of us. There's one that was a whitewater instructor in the city of Charlotte. That's not me.
Okay.
But yeah. Look me up on Facebook, Google me, Aaron Peeler Raleigh, you're going to find me.
Perfect. Yeah. Connect with them, guys. If nothing else, it's just a great individual to know and mastermind. And I know it can be lonely out there sometimes if you're a leader, and it's just great to connect with other leaders who get it. All right. So Aaron is one of those people for sure. So again, man, thank you so much. Did you have fun? This is good.
Absolutely. This is awesome.
Good. We'll do it again sometime then. All right.
Definitely. That sounds great.
In the meantime, everybody, thanks again if you've watched the Broker Showdown here with myself and Aaron Peeler. You're awesome, man. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys.
Yeah.
Take care.